My seemingly perfect fiancé 32 male cheated on me, 28 female, when blackout drunk with a coworker in a toilet at an event we were both at. In February of this year, my fiancé and I had just celebrated our 2-year anniversary and Valentine's Day. We were in a great spot, we always were. We have always had a beautiful and deep relationship. We can't get enough of each other. My fiancé is an extremely sensitive guy. He is attentive and very emotionally available. He never goes out with his mates, or if he does, he begs that I come along with him because he just loves to have me around. He's worked at the same place for 10 years and was changing careers and therefore having a farewell with his current workplace. He is a manager who has a great relationship with all of his colleagues. Prior to our relationship, he tended to date lots of women he worked with. However, since we were together, all of his workmates followed us on social media. He would call me at work, and him and his female colleagues would be in the background commenting on a relationship about how much he loved me, that he was punching above his weight, and knew he was stepfather to my 2 children. Here's where it all falls. He desperately wants me to come to his farewell. He's begging me daily for weeks. I personally am not keen on the idea because I'm a bit socially anxious, and I feel it should be his moment with his colleagues, not having to introduce me to a bunch of people I won't even see again. He pleads and says he will book us a hotel. The city where he works is an hour and a half away from home, and so I reluctantly decided to go. We get to the hotel. He brings a male colleague to have some drinks before we go to the farewell, and this relaxed me and I became excited for the night ahead. Assisted by a few vodkas, I go to the farewell and meet all of his colleagues. They all clearly adore him. He's just one of those guys. He's a people person with an infectious personality and just a nice person, no ego about him at all. You could tell everybody was truly devastated. He was leaving. He is proudly showing me off to all of his colleagues, and I end up sitting at a table with a few females. One of them, let's call her Jessica. I didn't know lots of people here. But Jessica had come up previously. I had previously seen some work emails between my fiancé and her, which were somewhat flirty. Lots of emojis. And my fiancé wrote in one of them, "Thanks, my love. I brought this up with him because I felt it was inappropriate if I had a boss, and they called me my love. That wouldn't sit well with me." He apologized and said this was just how he interacted with lots of females at his workplace. More so the 50 to 60-year-old women he managed. However, the terminology had slipped into an interaction with a 22-year-old. I was very put off by it. However, it absolutely is how he speaks to people, and also this girl was not somebody I was intimidated by, nor did I think he would be attracted to. So that is the only context I have to the relationship. Before this farewell, while sitting at the table with her, my fiancé sits with his hand in my lap, touching me and trying to make sure I'm comfortable, and I am observing her mannerisms. She is playing with her hair and constantly adjusting her dress around her breast and being generally flirtatious with my partner. I just see this as a typical work crush that a young female has on her male, older boss as the night progresses. Everybody is feeding my fiancé drink after drink. He hasn't binge drank since we have been together, and I didn't think he was too intoxicated. However, he was having shots, some of which Jessica purchased for him. And I'm just feeling like I can't really get drunk and that I'm being a drag on his big night. I tell him I want to go back to the hotel and let him enjoy the rest of the night with his friends, and he begs me to stay. This happens a few times until I eventually get an Uber. He walks me to the Uber and kisses me, tells me how much he adores me, thanks me for coming, and tells me he won't be too far behind me, getting back to the hotel, as a joke. I say, "Don't go cheating on me with Jessica," to which we both laugh, and he's like, "Absolutely not, I love you so much." A few hours later, he is carried into our hotel room by 3 colleagues, 1 male and 2 females. No, Jessica, he's completely out of it and throwing up until morning. I've never seen him like this. I have to leave the hotel early to pick up my kids from their dads. As I'm leaving the hotel, I get a text from an unknown person. The context of the message turns my blood cold. It essentially says that my fiancé sexually assaulted his partner, Jessica. It's this long, horrible message about, if I'm in a monogamous relationship, I need to know about my fiancé's behavior last night, saying he took advantage of his status and sexually assaulted a vulnerable coworker. I asked him to call me immediately to tell me what happened. He eventually does. He says that Jessica returned home from the night out completely distressed, that at the start of the night my fiancé made a comment about her looking hot, which made her uncomfortable, and she wanted to leave but decided not to. He says that after I left, my fiancé dragged her into a bathroom, kissed her, told her he wanted to her. She tried to push him off her and left the bathroom. Instead of leaving the venue, she then goes and sits in a booth with him and talks to him. The boyfriend says that there were witnesses and that he also did the same to other girls that night. I eventually speak to Jessica, who echoes what her boyfriend says. However, she says there were no other girls involved. She says he dragged her in the toilets and kissed her while she said, "But what about your fiancé?" over and over. I am very kind to her and understanding, however, question why, if she was offended by him at the start of the night, did she stick around and buy drinks, etc. She says there was no comment at the start of the night. She also says that there was absolutely no context to it and that she felt it was just a drunk spur of the moment. I speak to witnesses from the night, they all say it was her who led him into the toilets. However, his best male colleague says at one point he told my fiancé to stop flirting with Jessica, which he awkwardly laughed off. This was before the toilet situation. Basically, when I confronted my fiancé about it, he didn't remember one single thing. His skin was yellow and he was vomiting for days. He tells me that before he met me, when he would drink, he would often black out and behave completely out of character, which is why he no longer drank during our relationship. He had never cheated before, but he would act violently and break things, get in fights, etc., and then wake up the next day, not remembering this was all validated by his friends. And also, since speaking with my psychologist, he believes that due to the alcohol, his depression medication, Seroquel, and the history of alcoholism in his family, that it is a high possibility he truly doesn't remember. Another potentially important factor is that his father passed away a few months earlier from alcoholism, and he was still struggling with this. My fiancé vowed to stop drinking whilst he barely did in the first place. He hasn't in 6 months. He allows me to see his phone, and he has cut ties with everybody from that workplace. He seems as completely heartbroken and confused about it as I was. A relationship is good. He is patient and understanding. However, I'm still constantly riddled with the sickening imagery of him in a toilet with another woman trying to her. It's 6 months on, and I'm still broken about it. I'm so torn about whether, due to the prior context of flirty texts, that I am missing something. Surely he wouldn't beg for me to come to the farewell and beg me to stay if he had any intent of cheating on me. It's hard with every cheating story I read on here. I'm trying to find some comfort in this getting easier and us getting past this. However, I'm constantly seeing once a cheater, always a cheater, and drunk actions or sober thoughts, and I just can't shake the feeling that I'm missing something, and I'm going to be hurt again. Other than this one isolated situation, he has been everything I've ever dreamt of. Here are some genuine comments in response to this story. It very much sounds like your boyfriend was sexually assaulted by Jessica from your account of events. She got him drunk and led him to the bathroom. And since you have no idea what happened there, I would not assume your boyfriend did anything wrong. Jessica lied to her boyfriend to save face after probably being turned down by your man. She sounds like a straight-up predator, and if the genders were reversed, I don't think you'd be looking at your significant other as a cheater. Just some food for thought. Yeah, I have pondered this a lot too, when my fiancé was first told of the events. He refused to believe it for days. He said he felt like he had been drugged or that she was making it up. I don't believe he was perfectly innocent at the party, given he was told to stop flirting. But I don't think it's impossible that she seduced him. Why would she go and sit in a booth with him after it, if she was so traumatized by it, and then go home to her boyfriend, saying she was assaulted just hard when I only really have her word against his empty memory? I know, guys, this has happened to who didn't even have girlfriends or significant others of any kind, and they still were devastated to find out they were raped the next day. I also have had to end friendships with women who were purposely preying on my drunk male friends who had the same tolerance as your fiancé with alcohol. 100. This sounds like rape. Jessica seems like she set herself up to play the victim when she got caught because witnesses are saying it's not a she said he said situation and that your fiancé was the one being taken advantage of. If I were in the same position, I'd support your fiancé because he might be struggling with this just as much as you are. And it's better to figure it out together and trust your fiancé than trust a liar who's trying to save face after she got caught. I kind of got to agree with the comments on this one, Opie. I think she's a predator, and people at the party can attest to it. Your fiancé begged you to be with him. He begged you to stay at the party longer. Of course, him running around doesn't mean he can't be a cheater, but she was acting all flirtatiously and getting him and you drunk for a chance at some bathroom fun. At least that's what all this sounds like to me. Good luck.